All right, continuing our look now at the controversial situation in the 9th Congressional District here in North Carolina, getting all the wrong national attention. The fraud has a lot of folks wondering if the primary itself was tainted. Keep in mind, we're not just talking about the election between McCready and Harris back about a month ago. Back in May, Congressman Robert Pittenger actually lost his primary to Mark Harris by 828 votes. He was in D.C. at the time of this taping, so he could not come on the show. He did not know what would happen to the general election results. He told the website Roll Call, quote, "I have my feelings about what's right or wrong, but let's leave that to those who are leading the investigation into the irregularities." I did see somewhere this past week, apologies, I don't remember where I saw it, but he evidently had said that he was aware of this McCrae-Dowless character back in 2016 and did not hire him.
I'm sure that may or may not be the case. I've also seen some quotes from right after the primary election where he insinuated that he knew some of this stuff was going on. You have to be thinking that he's kicking himself at this point for not raising the alarm bells earlier in the process, because at this point the State Board of Elections can't call for a redo of the primary. I mean, that race is certified and it's all but done.
Yeah, so a couple things on that point is, A, we still don't know who raised the alarm bell. And I think that's a great point you just made, because we talk about no one raised the alarm bell after the primary. Well, by all accounts, nobody raised the alarm bell after the November general. This was done by whoever was the catalyst.
Somebody was a whistleblower.
We don't know who it was. We don't have any clue. It apparently didn't come from the McCready campaign. They were caught flat-footed. Didn't come, obviously, from some person in the Harris campaign, disgruntled or whatever the case may be. They were caught flat-footed. So I think that's critical. Going to your second point about the election, this is an interesting dilemma, because in the U.S. Constitution, the United States House is the final arbiter of who gets seated in their chamber. Under North Carolina state law, the Board of Elections can order a new election by a simple majority vote based on 4 criteria. The first 3 of those criteria in statute have to do with, is there enough votes to overturn it? However, the 4th one is basically what I call the kitchen sink, which is, it doesn't matter if we think this is bad enough, we don't care what the vote difference is, we can order a new thing. But going to Andrew's point, if they order a new election from the state board, they rerun the general in the November.
With the exact same
candidates.
candidates.
With the exact same candidates.
So for the folks at home to explain, there's basically 3 outcomes you could see here. One, everything continues and Harris becomes a congressman, and I think a lot of people at this point don't see that as a viable path, just given the controversy that's happening.
If anybody takes a bet on that, take it.
The other option, if U.S. House, Nancy Pelosi, we heard a soundbite from her in the last segment, if they get involved, everything starts from scratch.
That's right.
Filing period, primary, general, like everything starts from scratch. The state board gets involved, it just starts over with Harris versus McCready.
And wasn't there a libertarian in the race too, I think?
There is.
So so whoever was on the ballot in the general.
Now, there may be some partisan maneuvering over that as well, because if you're a Republican, you have to be hoping for a completely new elections. Because if the state board calls for a new election and just reruns the same candidates, you have to think Mark Harris is significantly weakened by this and would be at a disadvantage.
Which may be, and once again, it goes to this point, because we don't know who knew what when. Mark Harris could be, as Dallas Woodhouse, a different Dallas in this case, spelled differently as well, could be an innocent victim, is what Dallas Woodhouse said. Apparently, during his, he got so upset he got nauseous over this issue.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, I find hard to believe. But I mean, he's an NC State fan. He should be used to disappointment. So, I think it'll be interesting to see, is Mark Harris an innocent victim? Because I don't see a pathway for him at this point.
Regardless.
Regardless of those 3 outcomes, because A, the House of Representatives is not going to seat Mark Harris without a new election. I don't think he wins a new election.
But then you get into the argument, did he know or should he have known? If he didn't know, should he have had closer oversight?
Sure. Okay, if this starts from scratch, who runs?
Pittenger's in. I don't know Robert Pittenger, but this is a man, Robert Pittenger, who was under criminal investigation at one point and still ran for office. I have to think that if it reopens, what's going to be interesting is, do you see some of these state legislators get involved?
Yeah, I just wrote a piece on Longleaf Politics this morning, kind of breaking down the front runners if there were to be a special election. Pittenger definitely in. I'm hearing Kenny Smith. Maybe a good candidate, Matthew Ridenhour, Dan Barry over in Union County. But I think Dan McCready kind of has it locked up on the Democratic side.
I agree with that.
Wow. By the way, this, of course, as we're talking about a new election, and this is not just some novel idea we're coming up with. Take a look at this Observer piece editorial. It ends with, quote, voters in the 9th District deserve the confidence that their election was free from fraud. North Carolina statute supports it. The evidence already demands it. The Board of Elections should start the election over. As we've said, it's either going to be the Board of Elections or perhaps Congress itself. More Flashpoint after this.